Today we've got your full in-depth review of the Sony 20-70 f4 G-series lens for Sony full-frame cameras. A fantastic new lens that, well, is probably the ultimate kit lens. If you're looking for a standard zoom that ticks a lot of the boxes with great performance, and as you can see, a size and a weight to match, well, look no further, guys. Here are some specs to get you going. If you haven't seen one of my videos and this video does end up helping you out, hit that like and subscribe button, join the community. So we're gonna dive right in and talk about what matters so we can figure out if this might be a good choice for you, starting with the build-in features. As you can see here, it's a great size and weighing only 488 grams. It's not a burden. It's going to be a great travel and all-around shooter if you're looking for that standard zoom that can do a heck of a lot. It does extend as you zoom a little bit out right there, and that's what you're looking at. That's it. It is a plastic or a composite build, but it does have the great quality that you expect out of any modern Sony lens. In terms of buttons and switches, it's got all the conveniences you could want. Not one, but two customizable focus hold buttons, an automatic manual focus switch, an aperture ring over here for you video shooters, along with an iris lock and a click switch so you can choose between hard stops or a nice smooth transition between your aperture. In terms of buttons, everything's covered there, taking full control of your lens. On the front, we've got a small, responsive, and tactile focus ring, and closer to the back here, we've got a medium-size zoom ring with a little bit of a throw, not too bad at all, going from 20 to 70. So again, I wanted to mention that 20 millimeters compared to a traditional 24 millimeters is a big difference. But the trick is to be able to keep the quality as we extend our focal ranges, and Sony's done just that, which is fantastic, and we'll get into that in a little bit. On the front of the lens, you'll find 72 millimeter filter threads along with their patented coatings to help with ghosting and flare, of course. And on the back, a typical metal mount with a nice little rubber gasket for confidence when it comes to weather sealing. It has a moisture resistant design, and it's going to be fine in things like rain and sleet and everything you throw at it. Don't go submerging it, but overall for the weather sealing, it's going to be just great. Overall handling is really nice, and in terms of the built-in features overall, I give this lens a solid 4.5 stars. Next, we're jumping into the most important aspect of a lens, of course, and that's performance. Let's talk about the autofocus to start with. I'm happy to tell you that using two of Sony's XD linear focusing motors, this thing is incredibly quick, incredibly accurate, and basically silent, making it a dream for you video shooters and photographers alike. It's going to have a fantastic focal range once again from 20 all the way to 70, and 20 is just a great focal length for video shooters, for vloggers, for indoor shots. You're going to be able to fit a lot in the frame, and you can also zoom into 70 at f4 there with that constant fast f4 and get some even nice portraits and whatnot. In terms of bokeh, don't expect the world. It's not the fastest lens out there, but with 9 aperture blades, it does have a traditional, beautiful Sony quality that you can expect out of their lenses these days. It wouldn't necessarily be my go-to portrait lens, but again, for an all-around standard zoom lens, it covers a lot of bases. I'll let you be the judge in terms of bokeh quality and transitions and whatnot, and here's some more photo examples for you to do just that. It's also worth noting that this lens does have a quite impressive minimum focus distance, meaning you can get very close to your subject and get some really creative shots for photos and videos. It's going to be good on the wide side as well as the telephoto side of things, and I personally really love the ability to shoot up and close when I need to with my lenses. And video shooters should note that there is a little bit of focus breathing to speak of when using this lens all around. Once again, for me, definitely not a deal breaker, nothing too extreme. And now let's dive in and have a quick look for you pixel peepers at the sharpness and optics of this lens.
So here's a look starting at 20 millimeters wide open at f4. As you can see, the center of the image is razor sharp, great color, great contrast all around, and into the corners is actually a really great performance. It's just a tiny bit of haze right up into the very corners, but as we stop down here to f5.6, we can see that improved to a near flawless image. Great performance here at 20 millimeters. Stopping down further to f8, looking just immaculate, down to f11, still looking great, and down to f16, where we can start to see a little bit of that haze come back, all the way down to our minimum aperture of f22, which is still, if you ask me, a completely usable image. And here we are at 70 millimeters wide open at f4, center of the image, razor sharp, great performance. Into the corners is actually, well, just about as good, maybe even a little bit better than 20 millimeters. Just a great performance here at f4. Stopping down to f5.6 to see, again, just about an immaculate performance into the corners. Stopping down to f8, amazing, down to f11, looking great, and down to f16 once again, still looking very, very good. Maybe just the tiniest bit of softness, but still very good. And down to f22, which is, again, for me, completely usable. A phenomenal performance when it comes to the sharpness. So having a look at the distortion and vignetting now at 20mm wide open at f4, you can see some pretty heavy barrel distortion as well as some vignetting in the corners, and I'm not really sure if I've seen anything quite like that before. That is very, very extreme, almost like the very edges of something that you'd see on an APS-C lens on a full frame camera. So make sure you're using the profile correction or have those in-camera corrections turned on to see everything brighten up and straighten up. And here at 70mm, it's the opposite, not quite as extreme, but we do have some pincushion distortion here. Again, use that profile correction to clean that right up. And there is just a little bit of vignetting to fix as well. Overall, for me anyways, definitely no deal breakers. Great sharpness with, yes, a little bit of distortion issues.
So when we're talking about performance overall, I think this lens ticks a lot of boxes, and for what it is, it performs fantastically. I give it a solid 4.5 stars for performance. And finally, let's touch on the value of this lens. At $1,100 US, it's definitely not cheap, but for what it is, I think it packs a lot in there. The f4 might be a tough pill for some people to swallow, as there are faster options available and definitely some cheaper options. But if you're looking for the ultimate native experience in a great size, weight, and performance package, well, this one's really hard to beat. I love that Sony is pushing the limits in terms of our focal range while keeping the quality intact. I think that's really important. And for me, I do see value here, and I give this lens 4 stars. So wrapping up, guys, I think the 20-70 f4 here is a great option, although a little bit pricey for some. It does pack a ton in here. And if you're looking for the ultimate native experience, well, maybe look no further. A great replacement to a kit lens, and really any standard zoom is gonna have some stuff to learn from this lens. And I really hope that moving forward, we see more lenses just like this, pushing the boundaries. If you like this video, guys, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. If you wanted to pick this lens up, I will drop affiliate links down below. And like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.